Welcome, everyone, to the Abyss, a place filled entirely with random conversation. In today's episode, Kody and Jay look into the subjective world of Reddit, reading stories of other individuals and discussing who is in the wrong. We may have agreements or disagreements between our hosts, and they may learn something about these people, or maybe themselves. If you enjoy these kinds of conversation, we invite you to like this episode and subscribe to The Trench for more episodes of Random Conversation. We also invite you to comment a topic you would like The Trench to talk about. So join us and feel free to take pause as we go on this journey together into the Abyss.
What's up, guys? Welcome to The Abyss, a podcast from The Trench. Today we are reading Reddit stories. So sit back, relax, and let's get into it.
Okay, so Reddit. Y'all know and love it. At least some people would love it. You just go on, you see these posts, videos, and all these other things, and share your opinions. Okay, I'm curious, what are we reading today, actually?
All right, so we got a few stories from AITH, Two Hot Takes, AITAH, and possibly Am I the Devil? So, if you're new to Reddit stories, this is just reading other people's different stories that they're trying to figure out if they're the a-hole for. So, you ready?
Oh yeah, we're ready.
All right.
So, title is Sending My Sister Out of a Wedding Because She Arrived in a White Dress in Jest. Already one could probably assume that...
Honestly, this could go either way. You know, I've seen a lot of different stories about weddings, and a lot of people do overstep. So let's see.
Right.
I 30 female, just got married and everything was going great until my younger sister, 24 female, arrived at the reception in a floor-length white sequined wedding dress with a train. Hold up. Yo, that sounds like a wedding dress.
Are we
Wait, what?
talking train as in like the long flowing thing?
I think so. I
from the
think
head?
so. Yeah. I think so.
Because for a second I was
Alright.
taking that literally.
Nah. Yo, if she showed up with a train, I'm not gonna lie, that's her wedding. That's her wedding at that point. In my opinion, my humble
No,
opinion.
it must be
Alright.
one of those long ribbons that flow from the dress.
Yeah. Alright. I was shocked. I pulled her aside and asked what she was thinking. She just laughed and said, "It's a joke." I figured it'd be funny because you're so laid back. Off the record, I'm not that laid back. I planned this wedding for a year, and during the planning, I made it explicitly clear and informed all the people that we invited that no one was to wear white, not even as a joke. I told her to change or leave. She did not bring us a second clothes. She didn't.
Well,
All right. Yo, typo, I guess. Typo.
and you read the
She did not
typo as
bring.
well.
Yeah. Yeah. She did not bring a second clothes. All right. Yo.
She shows up in white, knowing that they weren't supposed to
It
wear
sounds
white.
like she showed
didn't
up
bring a
in a
change.
wedding dress. From what I'm getting from it, it sounds like she showed up in a wedding dress.
Okay.
You know. Yeah, so I think that's what happened. Which it's definitely understandable why someone would be mad about that, you know.
Right, because you'd have the set rule that no white. And normally it's the wedding's host's responsibility to let everyone know well in advance to not wear white. And then this person shows up wearing white.
Hold up. Let me finish this. My mom begged me to let it go because it's already done. But I refused. I was, yo, this person cannot speak English. I'm not gonna lie. But I was refused and told her she could not remain dressed that way. She left crying home. My dad claims I embarrassed her in front of the whole family and ruined the mood. It's 2 weeks after my wedding, and my family don't talk to me again except, bro,
What?
no way this person,
Did this actually
my
happen now?
some
Because,
people on this subreddit do come from other countries, so
right.
English isn't everyone's first language, so I'm assuming that's what this is.
Because I know in
It's
some
2 weeks
cultures,
after
weddings
my
are a
wedding.
huge deal.
Yeah, yeah. It's 2 weeks after my wedding. My family doesn't talk to me, hasn't talked to me. I'm assuming that's what they meant.
Yeah, it must be
Hasn't
someone.
talked to me again except for my elder brother. AITH for not letting it slide.
Okay, so this must be someone from a different culture. Maybe someone who might not have the best English skills. I don't know. But
Yeah. Well, I don't really know what to say to that. Honestly, I don't think so. I don't think so because you know, I feel like
yeah,
since weddings are a big deal, especially like even if people didn't view it as a huge thing, the fact that she explicitly asked everybody not to wear white, not even as a joke,
right.
that that already kind of clears her, you know?
Yeah, because she clearly set the rules for the wedding. And normally if you're going to a wedding, you'd have to respect the people hosting and the rules that they set for the event.
Yeah. Honestly, a lot of weddings, it seems like with a lot of these wedding stories, it's always a sibling, you know?
Yeah,
And
a lot of silly stories.
yeah. And I'm like, why are you doing that? You know, all I could really think the since the sister is 24 and OP is 30, I'm
Right.
assuming that maybe OP is doing a little bit better in life and maybe the younger sister's like a little jealous or something like that she's getting married and things like that. So, who knows?
I personally say she isn't
Why?
because she clearly stated the rules, especially if you have the rules set in advance, knowing that, hey, you guys are expected, if you're showing up, you're expected to follow these rules. That's
Yeah.
every wedding. Also, especially if it were a different culture, weddings are a huge deal, especially in other places around the world. And other, especially if it's a more traditional wedding rooted into certain cultures, they would have to follow certain rules, of course, because
Yeah.
there's normal things that they would do. I know there's certain
Yeah.
traditions over in the Middle East that they would need to follow. I know that you have to follow certain traditions in like Jewish weddings. There's even other traditions you follow in like the East Asian weddings. It's different for depending on the culture.
Yeah, but I'm kind of confused because she said my mom begged me to let it go because it's already done. And then she said her dad claimed that she embarrassed her sister in front of the whole family and ruined the mood. And it's like the sister is the one who ruined the mood and embarrassed herself because she knew this was one of the rules and decided to go against it anyways. Like
Right.
that's just kind of how things work.
Especially since if at some point they were given that rule prior to the event. That's just blatant
Yeah,
ignorance.
yeah, yeah. And the sister said it's a joke, and she figured it would be funny. But I'm like,
I call BS.
even if it's a joke, yeah, like even if it's a joke, I feel like you would bring an extra pair of clothes
Yeah, you would.
just in case. Yeah, yeah, because best case, in the case it was a joke, best case, the sister was super laid back and all that, and didn't care that much.
Right.
But we see what happened, and she definitely didn't. Like she's mad about it. Yeah, honestly, I don't think she's the a-hole for it. Let's read some comments.
I want to see some comments, see what other people say.
All right,
Yeah, this first one.
your sister. You want to read it?
Yeah, your sister screwed up, but not you. You had one rule, and if it was really a joke, she would have a spare dress. We literally said this 2 seconds ago.
Yeah, yeah. I'm like, bro. All right, hold on. The next comment said she
Okay.
did it to be the center of attention to ruin OP's day because the focus wasn't on her.
Ah.
In true narcissistic main character fashion, she goes full victim mode when called out, and everyone feels so sorry for her. Enjoy, enjoy the peace and quiet. I personally would take this opportunity to change my phone number, block them on social media, and enjoy your honeymoon time, and the start of your new family. They think they are punishing and controlling you, but they exposed themselves and gave you freedom to start a new chapter and new family. Show them that their manipulation and ignorance aren't yours to carry into your new life. Congrats. Honestly, I agree with that, but
Yeah, that sounds
I
about
don't know
right.
about the whole I don't know about the whole blocking thing. I get it because, the entire family was wrong for that. It was
Right.
kind of like everyone everyone was the bad guy except for OP, you
The
know?
thing is
And
that really pisses me off about this situation is that the fact that it was OP's wedding and her own family disregards the fact that she set that rule for everybody who showed up, and they end up taking the side of the person who broke that rule. Of course, yeah,
yeah.
it's family, but you still got to have a respect for certain
Yeah.
standards that your own sibling would set for their wedding. It's the days is about them.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of this one story I saw a while back where OP's mother-in-law, so her current husband's mom came in a wedding dress, and his entire side of the family, or a good amount, kind of just called OP the bad guy in that situation. And I'm like,
Right.
it's a wedding,
I'm
especially
curious.
when you're older too. Yep.
I'm curious about the third comment underneath. I just read a little bit of it. Scroll a little bit. There it is.
Mm.
So it says a joke is only a joke if everyone is in on it. That's something I want to note. Not everyone was in on it. And then also makes sense that this person is saying a joke would be arriving in a dinosaur costume, having a dance with you, and then changing it into actual clothes later. So that so by claims of a joke, it's now further kind of revealing that it probably just was a narcissist move. Because
Yeah, and
yeah, if I
with
was
the
yeah,
yeah, with the whole a joke is only a joke if everyone's in on it. I don't completely agree with that. I think a joke is a joke if everybody's laughing after. Like if
okay,
yeah, like if everybody thinks it's funny. A lot of pranks and jokes and stuff, they just take it too far because either they just think they're funny,
right.
or they're just like, yeah, like everyone's agreeing they're just a narcissist.
And I'm gonna read the second part of that. Also, I'd be half tempted to read your parents some of these replies so that they can realize how unhinged they are to be siding with her. If my child did this, I would be escorting them out myself. Dang, this person wants to show the parents these. You got how many? And they
Yeah.
got like
Hey,
how many comments to this? Like few thousand? I know upvotes.
it was a lot. Yo, but shout out Herps15 for that comment, you know? That's the name of this person, Herps15.
I'm just saying, if I
Wild.
was wanting to do a joke
Let's
at
see.
my sister's wedding,
It's
oh, so like 600 some.
694.
That's still a lot
Yeah.
of people, though.
Yeah.
I will say, if I wanted to pull a joke on my sister at her wedding, I would have done something like going at a freaking dinosaur costume, like those inflatable dino costumes. I would totally do that. But here's the thing,
Yeah.
my sister's wedding happened like 2 years ago. It's a little late for that, so
So we need to build a time machine. I got
we
you,
need to
bro.
build a
I
time
got you.
machine. Look, they say
That
time
makes sense.
travel is possible. It's just an engineering issue.
Yo, don't worry. I got the secret. I
All
got
right,
the
all right.
secret.
Let's go build one.
Yeah. All right.
I'll read one more
All
comment.
right. Yeah.
We have this one's good. This one is
Yeah.
well, you can read that. You can read that one.
All right, cool. Absolute truth right here. Your younger sister is a spoiled brat, and your mother's response proves it, encourages it, and reinforces your sister's behavior. What also proves it is the financial investment in that dress for a joke. What the hell? Your younger sister is actually bought or rented a white wedding dress with a train as a joke. I've experienced people coming to weddings in white dresses and stand out tacky as all get out. And they do it to steal attention for themselves. But I've never experienced someone showing up in an actual white wedding dress. Enjoy the peace and quiet and your new husband. Focus on building your life together while also deciding how you want to include your family going forward. Because your younger sister has some serious issues, and you both need to decide how you want her involved in your lives. Think holidays, anniversaries, baby shower, birth of future kids, etc. Because her behavior is textbook narcissist and will never change. Specifically, specifically note if this was really supposed to be some kind of joke, she would have had clothes there to change into immediately after pulling whatever joke slash skit she was going for, but she didn't. She intended to remain dressed like that for the entire wedding reception, through pictures, dancing, everything. So not cool, and your feelings are and reactions are completely valid. Don't let anyone make you believe or feel as if you did anything wrong. Actual kudos to you for standing up for yourself in front of everyone and putting an immediate hard stop to your sister's behavior. Your parents and family should be proud of the strong woman they raised. Realize your sister has issues and get her some help through therapy. Update me.
Ah, it's also interesting that you would people would end up updating the Reddit
Yeah.
thread.
Yeah. I don't see any updates for this stuff, you
Well,
know.
I mean,
Uh, this one,
look at when these things were posted. They were posted within the day.
15 hours ago.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's honestly it's recent. As of this video being posted, it's recent.
Yeah. All right. To the next story.
I think okay.
You,
What's the verdict? What's the verdict here?
oh, everybody agreed that she was not the a-hole. Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah, I agree
yeah.
with that.
I would say not the a hole. Case closed. This is she's fine. The thing is though is that a lot of these discussions is that people think that they are the a-holes because obviously there's always a trope that people want to satisfy everyone around them. You got to realize, folks, you're not going to make everyone happy. There are going to be decisions that you make as a human being and an individual that not everyone's going to agree with. I know personally that I've made decisions that my own family has disagreed with, but I know for myself that it's actually been a healthy decision. So realize not every decision you're going to make is going to be agreeable with everyone around you, especially if it means you're kicking out someone from your wedding for wearing something that breaks the dress code. So,
Yeah.
not the
Yeah.
a-hole. Case closed.
So this is my final verdict.
Losers.
All right.
Bro, you got the soundboard too?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh,
That's how I feel
boy.
about the family.
No.
All right. Next story
All right,
from
next
Two
one.
Hot
Here we
Takes.
go. Here we go.
Yep. And you can read this one.
All right. What we got? SIL expressed, I don't deserve our new house. Now husband's family is melting down. This is on r slash, what is it? R slash
Two Hot
two hot
Takes.
takes.
So Two Hot Takes is a YouTube channel where they do similar videos to this.
All right.
So, yeah.
All right, here we
This is
go.
their subreddit.
Oh, this is going to be interesting. All right. My husband and I just bought our first house. My husband has a pretty high paying job. I work and make a decent salary, but our budget to buy our house was definitely influenced by his earnings more. We had his family over last week. Generally, I loved his parents. Notice how she used past tense, loved his parents. Um,
Yeah.
They've always been really good to me and they're fun. I've not spent as much time with his sister outside of holiday gatherings, but we do have her son stay with us for a week over for the summer the last few years, so I know him well too and love him. So everyone meant so everyone mentioned above comes over and we show them around the house. At one point, I'm showing SIL a kitchenette in the basement, and I say something like, "It's great that our house has this space now. So if you want to visit us, you'll basically have a separate apartment." And she goes, "Our? Is it also your house?" I'm immediately confused, but also I guess she could have assumed that my husband bought it on his own. And I said, "Yeah, we bought it together." She goes, "I don't think you deserve. Do you think you deserve to own half of this house? I don't know. I just think that's crazy." I was shocked and mostly panicked. And, "Well, I do, yeah," she said, and fled the basement. I immediately told my husband, away from his family, and he in turn immediately went to talk to his sister. I went to hang out with his parents and didn't say anything to them. But then we heard shouting outside. My husband and his sister were yelling at each other, and I know people are different with their siblings, but I've never really heard him yell before. I could hear him tell her that we don't have a prenup, and she also called him an idiot. I had to tell his parents what was going on, and they went and intervened and left pretty quickly with his sister and nephew, who didn't hear any of this through the magic of video games, I think. This mom said sorry to me on the way out. I did touch base with my husband, and he was livid, like way more angrier than anger. Oh, she spelled angry wrong, and then I'd expect. He told me that before he got married, his sister was the beneficiary of his life insurance, and he thought she was angry over essentially being removed from all of his assets. She apparently had texted him about being added on the house paperwork a few weeks ago during the buying process, and he just ignored her. His parents reached out to me and have been very sweet, apologetic, but they really want to fix things and have asked if I will talk to the SIL. I'm trying to step away from it and just say it's now between my husband and his sister. Is that fair? Of course, I'm a bit hurt by her saying that, but at the end of the day, if she has problems with how he's handling his assets, and that's between the two of them, right? I feel really bad because his family has always been so sweet, and I really love his nephew, so I want things to be fixed. Is this person the a-hole? Oh, wait, there's
Yo,
an
read
edit.
the edit.
There's an edit. There is an edit. While this blew up a bit, I will make an update. We have plans to chat about it today and speak with patents and figure out how we want to go forward. I agree with especially all of you, and I'm not planning to discuss with it until she apologizes. And to answer some common questions, nephew's dad is not and has not been on the picture for a long time. SIL has been in and out of relationships with not the best types of dudes. She is younger and there's no other siblings. Yes, there's been a pattern of her getting more help from her parents, but it's because she really needs it to be a single mom. And my husband always has been pretty independent. I promise I don't tell every person on the street about our lack of prenup, My husband did come to the marriage with a lot of assets, so I think with his friends and family expressed curiosity about a prenup, it was coming from a place of concern / care to him, and I love that. So it felt appropriate to share how we made that decision. No one ever pushed back. I've never talked to his sister about it, and I think she didn't know. But my husband sort of yelled it at in anger and in a we don't even have a prenup way. We're planning on kids, but could still keep up with what we currently do for our nephew, even if we did. And he just became an official teenager, so the college fund is going to complete at this stage, and we don't add much money to it anymore. It's just accruing. That's a mouthful. That is a mouthful.
Yeah.
Is this person the a-hole?
No.
We always have to
No.
ask that question.
No.
No, definitely
Honestly, no. No. Because honestly, I
not. I
think
want to hear
she's
your
just
take.
jealous. I think the sister-in-law is just jealous, honestly.
So many issues of jealousy in these threads.
Yeah. Yeah, because the whole thing with the house, it's not about that. It's not about that. It is not about the
No.
house. I think it's because honestly her life isn't going again kind of like the how I said in the first story, her life's not going the way that she's intending it to go, and she's seeing not only her brother but his wife
Yeah.
living out a better life, and especially getting a house, at a point in time like this where so many people are worried about the economy and just things like that. I feel like a lot of people are on edge about buying houses, and some people not being able to afford things like that, you know?
Right.
And I'm like, dog, you don't have to be an a-hole about it. You don't have to be like that.
And then again, when it comes down with money as well, knowing that the
Pocket
husband is
watch.
also pretty wealthy, according to this story. Because the thing is there's
Yeah.
also if it involves money, everyone's going to find a way to try and have it benefit them, regardless if they're paying um, certain fees, especially if they're if this couple's trying to save up for kids.
Yeah. And it seems like OP's life is going in having a positive trajectory, you know?
Right, like it
And
doesn't seem like she's in a rut.
yeah.
Life seems fine according to this story.
Yeah. Honestly, it seems like in a lot of these stories when it comes to people talking just mad in general over absolutely nothing.
Right,
Usually it's just them projecting. It's about them, you know.
right. And here's the thing: I know personally, I've had issues where I have struggled with seeing other
Yeah.
people's success and other people having good things, and I always like, man, I should integrate myself in this to help me feel good. I mean, jealousy is
Yeah.
very real. It is rough, and I feel like people don't realize their jealousy until it's pointed out by other people. I don't know if the person in the wrong in this story will ever see any of these responses. We have like almost 2,000 comments on this thing, and people don't realize their jealousy or their wrongdoings until someone else's points out to them because they think they're fine, they think they're doing the right thing. We always need to put ourselves in the mindset that we're in the right and everyone else is in the wrong, and we don't really hesitate to stop at sorry, we don't think of stopping at a medium where we should look at ourselves and say, "Hey, we might be wrong."
Yeah. But obviously that doesn't apply to me as the most correct person on earth.
Oh gosh. Sure, sure.
Yeah, it's been studied, many tests. No,
Right.
but yeah, I feel like at a certain point, people just gotta look themselves in the mirror and just evaluate everything. And the sister-in-law in this story, yo, I I feel like she doesn't really, from what it could just be the way OP wrote it, but I feel like
Right.
she just doesn't have the redeeming qualities, bro.
No.
you know, yeah,
Let's
like
let's see let's see
I've
what some
seen
other people
some.
think.
All right, cool. Let's see. All right, first
Ah,
comment.
you can
What could
read
you
it.
possibly say to your sister-in-law? I think you say that the issue isn't really about. I think you say that the issue isn't really about you. It's about how sister-in-law thinks everything that is your husband's is part hers. That that's something your husband needs to set straight, not you. You just sit there and stay pleasant. You handled this perfectly. It's not your battle, and your husband has your back clearly. Sister-in-law sounds insane. Yeah,
Again, it's the
yeah.
trope
Honestly,
of in-law, like the family. It's the trope of the family expanding, and
yeah,
that brings some level of it. There's risk of entitlement.
yeah, man. Yeah, honestly, I think that again, that's how a lot of these stories go. Like a lot of what I've realized from Reddit is that a lot of people, specifically siblings and like parents and stuff like that, or sister-in-laws and uh like brother and sister-in-laws, they always feel like they're owed something, you know? And
Right.
at a certain point it's just weird, you know? Because obviously nobody really owes anybody anything, you know.
Yeah, that's
But
true.
also in this type of situation, the sister-in-law, I feel like she just really overstepped, you know.
That yeah.
Yeah, I think that's what it really comes down to is she just overstepped
Hmm.
really. She just did it too far.
Let's see what else. Let's see what other people say. Um, she
Oh,
shouldn't have to
OP
explain to
responded to
anyone
that
whether or
one.
not you have a prenup. I mean,
Yeah. Yeah, so OP responded to that comment. I know this is right, but it's just really frustrating. We've had the awkward conversation of explaining why we don't have a prenup to some friends and family. And I really don't mind getting into those topics or talking about those things. I know this is different because she's not coming from a place of curiosity or just wanting to understand. But it's wild to me that it jumped this quickly, suddenly, when we bought a house.
hmm. All right.
Yeah, I get it,
And then again,
because
yeah, buying a house is it it can get complicated. You're
yeah,
buying a house,
yeah,
and it's also a long process too. You don't really just pull up, throw like $1 million on the ground and say, "Hey, house mine." It's not. It doesn't really work that way unless if you're like a freaking billionaire. But normally,
yeah,
it takes a while to move in.
yeah, yeah, and really, I just feel like I I wish she would have talked about like really gone into how their dynamic was prior to this situation,
Yeah.
and like just so we could see like what was she like prior to this, and was it a quick shift, or was this something that really built over time?
Right. Yeah, the thing I said about a house. There's a comment. Scroll down a little bit for use clock 4627 right there. Scroll up a little bit more there. Like
Yeah.
this is exactly what I'm saying. Big house is a big ticket item depending on where you live. You're talking a potential 7 digits. We also got to consider the fact of where they're living. If they're living freaking West Coast, there's a lot more stuff that goes into purchasing a house. Especially since where I live, yeah, it's rather expensive to live here. And
Yeah.
your sister-in-law should have brought up the deed for the house, saw dollar signs in her future. If her bro dies, that's it. Oh my gosh, this person's being blunt.
Yeah.
She still perturbed that she isn't the beneficiary or that of that money anymore. Again, it's about the money.
Yeah.
Or
Yeah.
it's not just about the money and we're missing something here. Which we
Yeah.
probably aren't. I'm pretty sure it's about the money.
Yeah. I want to know what her relationship's like with the husband, you know?
The sister-in-law?
Because yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, because honestly, it sounds like she's plotting on, bro. Yo, she said that she wants to be the beneficiary.
Well, that's what this person
Yeah.
supposes.
Yeah, like
But it's not out of the picture. It's not impossible that it's like she wanted to have some form of beneficiary influence.
yeah.
All we can do is
Yeah,
speculate.
but you know, what did she expect at some point if he, especially since I feel like everybody makes it known at some point, especially to their family, that they want to get married in the future.
Right.
So I would assume that that was something that even if they hadn't gone into like a deep conversation or anything about it at any point, I'm sure she knew that at some point he wanted to get married. So she wasn't going to be the beneficiary anyways, especially over a wife.
Yeah, that's true.
Man. Well, after
You
reading
wanna
all of that,
you
uh
wanna make the verdict?
yeah, OP is definitely the a-hole here 100%. Actually, I agree with the sister-in-law. She doesn't
Oh
deserve
my
the new
gosh,
house.
dude.
Uh, you know, the husband's family does not deserve to have a meltdown like that. You know, good
Oh my
people. Nah,
gosh, dude.
no, but yeah, I would say not the a-hole. Yeah, and it
Wow.
seems like everybody agrees with that as well. So
In all
yeah,
seriousness, I say not the a-hole.
yeah, that's the
The
only correct
sister-in-law is the
option.
a-hole, not her. There is an
Yeah.
a-hole. It's not her. It's the sister-in-law.
Yes. All right. Well, to the
Let's
next
see.
story.
Next story. So we
Am
got
I the
two.
a-hole?
So we got two.
Yeah.
Not too bad. I'm curious though if we're gonna hit one that we actually find out if the person is the a-hole. Because there are instances where that happens, right?
The last one would be the one I think. I think the
Also,
last one's gonna be it.
also, before we go into the next story, I wanted to take this moment to tell you guys, hey, subscribe to the trench. We are going to be making more videos like this. So hit like,
Yeah, and
subscribe,
you
share
know,
this
we're
to
just gonna be
people.
having fun.
Yeah, we're just here talking about random conversations.
Yeah, and
Also,
we're
if you
gonna
guys want to
bring other
have,
people in and
yeah,
you know.
also if you guys want to have a topic that we could talk about, comment a topic you want us to talk about, and we will look through it and see if we can make a video on that. We want to hear from you guys. We want to engage with the audience. Even though there's like
Yeah.
26 people following the channel right now, let's
Yeah.
try and grow this. Let's try and reach more people and create a space where Sounds cliche, but a place to be free. That's the point of this channel. That's the slogan.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think the only topic we wouldn't talk about is politics, just because that's not fun. That's not a good topic. That's not funny. We're gonna make half of the people super mad. And other half, you know. All
All
right,
right.
let's get to the next story.
Next one we have. So you.
Am I the a-hole for wanting to exchange our kitten?
Uh-oh.
Yes.
Well,
Next
okay.
story.
Hold on. Okay. Hold on a second.
Yeah.
Exchange the kid. Here's the thing, side note. Where I work, we found out there was like a stray mother cat by the place where I work, and we ended up just taking it in. So this cat lives at the work building, and it gave birth to like 7 kittens. And the thing is that people at work are taking care of these kittens during shift. It's so adorable.
So
I'm
community kittens.
yeah,
Perfect.
basically.
You see, people. I feel like people like that who will bring them into work and bring them into just different things so that the cats can survive. That's like the
Right.
best kind of community.
And I know that some of these uh few people that found them, they do say they have intentions of putting them up for adoption, but the thing is no one's really reached out, so people at work are kind of taking them. I
Yeah.
already own 2 cats. I don't need a third.
Yeah. Honestly, before we even get into the story, I want to say I think this is going to be the story where we say
You
OP is
think
the.
this is it?
I think this is the story
All right, you think it's it.
because
You're reading this, by the way.
I can't think of a good reason to exchange a cat, you know? Unless the cat attacked like a baby or something like that. Then all right.
No, I feel like if the
All
cat
right.
attacked a baby, you'd put it down. I'm pretty sure there's rules about that.
Yeah. Yeah, that too. All
All
right.
right, here we go.
Okay, so I have this issue and I wanted to see what others think. We got this beautiful baby, Bella, on May 28th, had a wellness check with the vet on June 1st, was given a clean check of health. We came home and gave her a bath and discovered she had no beans on her right paw. Back to the back to the vet. She apologized and said she did not check all paws. Well, 2 weeks later, I see her limping. Since she was eating, drinking, playing, and allowing us to touch her paw, we tried to wait it out, but the limp did not resolve. So back we go to the vet. That sounds weird.
Okay, so as of right now, it's like it
Yeah.
seems the cat is in a good condition, even though it clearly has a
Yeah.
problem.
Yeah. Yeah, this is gonna be the story. This is gonna be the story.
This might be the story.
Yeah. They did x-rays and now are recommending to amputate one of her toes because of the way her nail is growing.
Yep.
They gave me two estimates, one to declaw both front paws and wait, hold up. Yo,
Wait, let's
hold up. What is it trying
wait.
to
X-ray is
say?
now recommending
What is it try
toes because the way the nail is growing. Give me 2 estimates: one to declaw both front paws and pay for 1,200 to amputate, or wait, pay
and
12.
pay
No,
for
pay
1200.
1,200 to
Yeah.
declaw,
Yeah.
or to amputate, or to amputate
Yeah. Or to
for
amputate one toe
1,600.
on the right paw only. Yeah, for 1600. I contacted the seller right away, but the only option she is offering is to exchange her. She does not do refunds nor she pays for medical care. She says she did not know Bella had such condition. The pet insurance is refusing to pay because it is a pre-existing condition.
Hold on. So
Yep.
is this a life-threatening condition that the cat's in?
No. No. Unless
Okay.
amputating part of. Honestly, it sounds like
Because I've seen
all she
cats.
needs to do is declaw,
I
and
feel like
that's
as of right now, I think we might know. I think I know where this is going, but keep
yeah.
reading.
My logical part of my brain is telling me from the start to accept the exchange, but my kids are not willing to let her go. My oldest is 18 and she is a full-time student. She said that she is willing to pay me back what I paid for her and her treatment as long as we keep her. She will pay once she starts working. I can't reason with her, and although I see that she is looking at her as a family member already, I don't think it's fair. I did everything right. I got her and paid more than 2.5K, got her insured right away, vaccinated her, microchip x-ray was like 650. I don't feel like I signed up for this. Also, the seller stated that if we proceed to do the surgery, the 2-year warranty is void. So I feel trapped. Insurance won't pay a dime for anything that happened due to her deformity. The seller
Right.
will only exchange, but if we proceed with the surgery, the warranty is off. I feel awful because all I want to do is exchange her since we learned she was like that. I also don't want to keep bleeding my wallet and I don't want to hurt my kids. But I feel like at the end of the day, someone is going to be upset anyway. Either my kids will be heartbroken, I'm going to be stressed out for feeling this is unfair, or my wallet will continue to bleed because my mind is going like, what if the surgery goes wrong and she ends up with nerve damage? Now she is going to be in pain forever. Or what if she gets either a complication or an infection and passes away? Please, no judgment. I know I am a terrible mom for even suggesting to exchange her, but that is just my logical way of fixing the issue at hand and maybe preventing any more issues in the future. Please help me out. What would you guys do?
This is
Ah,
hard. You just play another sound effect or something.
yeah, yeah,
This is hard.
yeah. It's not hard in my opinion. Just keep the cat.
I
Just
think
keep
I
the
think
cat.
you really just keep it
Yeah,
because
because
just
so her oldest kid, I think, yeah, she said her daughter is 18. Said she'll pay for it. So, or she'll pay her back for
right.
all of the stuff because she wants to keep the cat. Just keep the cat. It's really not that hard in my opinion. Just keep the cat because at a certain point, w- what did you get the cat for? You
Right.
know,
And
I say
you
the
get a
same
cat and you
if you adopt a
immediately
kid.
yeah, you get a cat and you immediately assume that you're going to be spending a lot of money on this thing regardless. Feeding, medicine, care,
Yeah,
all the stuff. I think this
yeah,
is more of a thing where this mom is dealing with spending extra money for these surgeries, for these medical procedures. But why don't you
yeah,
just
and
get them? Why just get the cat declawed?
yeah, and honestly, that's something a lot of people do anyways. So it's
I got
not
my
like
two
that
cats
would
declawed.
be some, yeah, like that's not some crazy surgery.
Right.
And
It's
that's
not that bad.
yeah,
But I feel
yeah,
like where she's coming from, she's trying to figure out if that will affect the pre-existing condition of the cat.
yeah, but since the kids want to keep the cat
Right.
and the daughter's saying she'll pay for it, just at that point, just keep it, you know,
Right. And
because
you have
worst
someone
case,
else that's
yeah,
willing to pay.
yeah, worst case, everything goes wrong. But best case, absolutely nothing goes wrong and they get to keep the cat for years,
And
you
here's
know?
the thing, especially if you're having trained medical professionals do this procedure. Especially this
Yeah.
kind of surgery, I at least in my life I have not heard of any I've not seen or heard of any of those procedures going wrong in the first place. Huh.
Yeah. And if it is a situation where it's just one of her claws, then yeah, they really could just declaw her. And
Yeah.
yeah, like everything will be fine. And the cat will move and walk and everything just like every other cat, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. Honestly, I think this is the story. This is the
This
one.
might be the story.
She is the a-hole.
This
She
might be it.
yeah.
I want to see
Hey,
some
she said,
comments
please
first
no
before
judgment. Nah.
we make the verdict. I want to see other comments. There's only 4 comments on this thing.
Let's see how new this
Oh,
one
wait a
is.
minute. When
32
was
minutes.
32 minutes ago?
Yeah.
This
Yep.
is just wow. So this is basically happening as we speak.
Yeah.
As of
Yep.
this video being
Top
posted, this is
comment.
happening here.
Yeah, top comment. You're the a-hole. Pay for the surgery. You adopted the kitten. You adopted the kitten and now she's your responsibility. If you have these concerns about keeping her, what do you realistically think is going to happen to her if you exchange her for another kitten? Do you think the seller is going to pay for the surgery herself? Or do you think it's more likely that Bella won't live to be a year old? If you paid over $3,000 for a kitten instead of just adopting one at the shelter, I'm sure you guys are not struggling that hard for money. Please treat this kitten as if she were a member of your family because she is. Yes,
Wow, this
I agree with
person,
that. I completely agree with that.
the live-in 123. Shout out to that person.
Yeah.
Look, and then there's money. So Sweaty Pits underscore says money aside, yes, kinda. And then scroll up a little bit. Toasted egg. I'd exchange her for a healthier cat. Oh, this person thinks the exchange should happen. Interesting.
Well,
Then again, this is Reddit.
yeah, but
Oh, you got
who
the freaking
trusts?
moderator saying not to
Yeah.
down. I think
Well,
the
I'm a downvote
moderators think.
anyways. I will downvote whoever I want. I will downvote. I'm a downvote the
Does this
mod too.
does the moderator okay, does this mean the moderator thinks that the person's an a-hole as well?
Probably. Yeah. Yo, the mod left a paragraph longer than the story itself just to say not
Oh
to
boy.
downvote. Yeah, but honestly, I feel like at a certain point when you adopt a cat or if you adopt any pet or buy any pet, however you do it,
Yeah.
it's your responsibility at that point. Like what my real question is, what do they think would have happened? Let's say 2 years after the warranty. It's 2 years later
Right.
and cat gets sick and needs some kind of surgery or something. What would OP do in that situation? It sounds like OP would more likely just give up the cat or like let it go, you
Now,
know?
you also got to understand that OP has support. You got someone else saying that they
Yeah.
would pay the expenses for these procedures.
Yeah.
So
And
she wouldn't have
that's
to worry about money as much as she thinks she is.
yeah. No, I think she doesn't care. I think she just wants the perfect or the ideal cat, like the ideal experience, what she thought she was getting going into it.
Right.
And that's not what she's getting. So,
I
yeah,
I felt a little bit
I
that way
think,
when I felt that a bit that way when I had a bird. I thought a bird would
yeah,
be A, B, and C, but the bird also was kind of like uh D, E, F kind of. And
yeah,
I kept the bird.
yeah,
I mean,
yeah. And,
I still took care of the bird.
there's no real way to know what to expect.
Right.
Like when you get, and I say like, it's kind of the same thing if you adopt a kid. Like you you don't really know what the kid's like until they're with you. You don't know
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah, you're
You
right.
don't know exactly what their issues may be.
Yeah,
You
that's
know?
true.
Yeah, and I view it the same way.
You wanna
The
you wanna you wanna place the verdict? I think we know what the verdict is.
yeah, yeah, yeah. That's first a-hole of the
We got our
day.
a-hole of the
First
night.
one. We got one.
Ladies and gentlemen,
We got one.
the
We got one.
the trench has declared the verdict that this person is the a-hole in this situation.
Yeah.
It
Hey, garbage person. Garbage person.
yeah, keep the cat, especially if you have people also willing to pay other expenses. And then again,
Yeah, honestly,
you would still be paying a lot of money even if you had the quote unquote perfect cat.
yeah, and honestly, even in my opinion, if it was me, even if there was something super wrong with the cat, where they were saying like, oh, there's a high chance or a large chance that the cat might not make it from the surgery, but
Right.
it's the only way, I will still keep the cat
I'm like,
and just pay for it, you know?
right. And even if the surgery is
Because
successful, you're set for a while.
yeah, yeah,
Oh well. Well, we found our first
well,
a-hole of the video. So that was our third story. We might have time for one more. We've been going.
yeah.
This would record for just under an hour. Do you want to do
All
one
right,
more? Or we want to cut it off here.
we could do one more,
Okay, we'll do
one more.
one more.
And this is from Am I the Devil?
Oh, this
So
is interesting.
this is a shorter story though. So our last one is a short story, you know, nothing too crazy. And you'll read this one.
All right, I'm a. No, it's not. It's am I the a-hole?
Yeah, but I got it from Am I the Devil?
Okay. So again, well, currently r/am I the a-hole, but if you got it from am I the devil, then fine. All right, here we go. So for telling my wife I feel sorry she's lacking in intelligence after she weaponized the suggestion I made to her about spending.
Well,
I feel like
we
it's
know the verdict already.
bro, there's
Obviously, this is Andrew Tate. It's him.
It's interesting.
He is secretly
That's good.
posting
That's so
for
good. Oh my
right.
gosh. That's some alpha male kind of thing
Yeah.
going on.
Yo, actually, it was me. It was me. Sorry about it. I posted it. Yeah.
When was this
Yeah,
posted?
it was
13 days ago. Okay,
13
so
days
it's a
ago.
little
All right.
so it's almost just 2 weeks since this was posted. All right, I'm gonna read this.
Yeah.
Here we go. My wife goes to a coffee shop 2 to 3 times per week. She works from home and goes there frequently. We share a joint account and both have credit cards and the app. She discovered this coffee shop a month ago and gets at least 2 to 3 drinks plus maybe a donut or a muffin every time. Wait, 2 to 3 drinks, a donut, and or a muffin?
Yeah.
Just for one person?
Well,
Either it's
maybe she
real
likes her
okay,
drinks
maybe,
and her donut and her muffin.
maybe she like her drinks, donut, and muffin. Okay, this has really increased for some discretionary spending. I'm talking $9 lattes and $6 muffins, so it's significant. Here's the thing, dudes. I need to know how big that muffin is. Six
This is the
dollar.
average order at Starbucks.
If it's
This
average
is
order
the
at
average order.
Starbucks, then not worth it. But if we're talking like Costco size muffins, probably worth it. Because Costco muffins
Yeah.
are huge. Anyway, that's not important. Okay. So it keeps going saying, I approached my wife and asked her if she could mind cutting down those expenses a little bit, or maybe if she feels like she has to buy something every time she goes, why doesn't she utilize the clubhouse in our apartment complex if she really wants to go outside the house? We do well financially, but I don't really like unnecessary spending. Okay. I'm not feeling like a hole right now. She didn't take that well and just pouted her face like a big baby and said, "Fine, she just won't do it anymore since I want her to lose her mind." This really annoys me. I say one thing and she takes it completely differently, making it impossible to have any kind of decent discussion with her. First time I didn't hold myself back from wanting to tell her something similar in energy and tone and said, "Oh, I didn't realize you were either trying to punish me or generally lacking the intelligence at what I said. I feel sorry for you." Dang. Of course, this annoyed her, and she asked me to say that again if I meant to make her feel that way. I said, "You heard what I said, and if it landed that badly, I'm okay with her sitting with it for now because lately she's been turning every discussion into an argument, and I'm no longer softening myself around her." Okay, this is
All
interesting.
right.
At first,
So
at first, unnecessary spending, I know because I personally have a thing for unnecessary spending. I don't unnecessarily spend. I don't like unnecessary spending. So I kind of relate to the guy in a little bit because I always ask myself, do I need it really? If not, I don't need to buy it. But if we're talking going to a
yeah,
coffee shop and buying 2 to 3 drinks, if they're averaging $9 a drink, it's like up to $27, and then $6 muffins. Maybe put in two of those if it's a donut and muffin. $12. We're looking at like 27 plus 12. That is $39, almost $40 for one person. That, like, in most restaurants, that could feed two people a full meal
yeah,
and with some
yeah.
left over.
Honestly, wait, hold up. So she's getting 2 to 3 drinks. Man, 2 to 3 drinks is crazy. I'm not gonna lie.
That
Yeah, so
at
she's
first,
spending
yeah, at
like
first I feel like
she's
it's not the a-hole.
yeah, like she's spending like $33.
Right.
Yeah,
We're just
nah, that's crazy.
rough averaging
But
33
like,
bucks a person.
honestly, I think this
That's a
is a
lot.
situation where everyone sucks because,
Yeah,
like, bro,
you
he
have yeah, you have
he
the
overstepped because didn't have to say he didn't have to say that she was lacking intelligence,
you didn't have to
you
you
know,
have to
and that
take it that far.
yeah, because it's like she just overspent. It's money, you
Right.
know.
And the thing is he's also saying that, I mean, they're doing well financially. So
Yeah,
it's not a financial problem.
yeah,
But if we're talking long term, yes, unnecessary spending, even if you're financially stable, could probably start to put a little dent in your finances.
yeah, yeah. But like also, I feel like the fact that that was his first thought, it wasn't like actually sitting her down like with a real serious
Right,
conversation. It was more like he just talked to her and she just kind of blew him off or whatever,
right.
like that. Nah.
I think as of right now, it might be the a hole on both parties.
Yeah, I think everyone sucks.
I feel like the husband means well, but he did it wrong.
Yeah. Yeah, like that. That's really rough.
As of right now, I'm leaning is the a hole, but you're not the
Yeah, then
only
he
one
doubled
in the room.
down.
Yeah, and
He
doubling down, that just adds extra sting in the wound.
yeah. Yeah, I feel like he might be a little bit more just because he basically said he's not gonna stop talking like that. Like
Yeah,
he's gonna keep that energy. Like, nah, man. Nah, man.
no.
Some people just shouldn't be married.
Yeah. I want to see some comments. So first, from 12 days ago, I don't even know how to say this username.
Yeah, it's just letters.
So this one says, "This is why people should have their own personal accounts separate from joint accounts. You may think her spending is unnecessary, but she likely thinks it's no big deal because she works too. And also how petty. Restricting spending to strictly necessary purchases sounds like an exceedingly Spartan way to live. YTA." So
Yeah,
we also
I definitely think.
another point I want to
Yep.
make.
Yeah,
She probably is. Wait, did he say there it's all coming from the same account?
I feel like I feel like he he's just talking about in general. I don't think he
So
mentioned an account,
here's
but
so let's just
yeah,
fantasize, if you will. If it's coming from her own personal bank account, if the wife spending all that for her own from her own personal say from her own bank account, there's no issue here in my opinion because she's doing what she wants with her money. I mean, yes, someone could say it's rather unnecessary spending. That's their opinion. I personally think it is unnecessary spending because, like, I wouldn't understand why someone want to buy 2 to 3 drinks plus 2 pastries every time you go to this coffee shop.
yeah, I'm assuming that
That's
these are
just my
small
opinion.
drinks as well.
Right? These could
And
be
if it's
small.
not small drinks, then
No, if we're
yeah,
it wouldn't be as
if
bad
it's
if we're
small
talking like
drinks,
freaking tall or grande style drinks, but if we're looking at
yeah,
like freaking ventis and train toss sizes, then this is where I start to have questions.
yeah, like either she's spending a lot of money on small drinks, which at that point, yeah, find a different place,
But the thing is, if it's coming
or
from her
she's drinking
own
a lot.
account, if it's coming from her own account, it really shouldn't be as big as a deal because it is not affecting the husband in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah,
It just sounds annoying because it doesn't appeal to the husband's standards of spending. Again, if it's coming from
yeah,
her own bank account, it shouldn't be that big of a problem. Now, however, if it was coming from the joint account, that's a different story because she's taking money out of the account that both parties are saving for what should be important stuff.
yeah, yeah, and
I feel like she's getting it from her own account.
I yeah, me too. Yeah, and it's like I kind of agree with the comment, like restricting spending to only necessary purchases. That's that's a lot. That's too
Right,
much in my opinion.
right.
Unless they go on like a couple huge trips a year and they're like out of the country and stuff like that, then I'd be like, all right. If they're trying to save up money for something like that, then yeah, probably won't be able to spend $33 on drinks and a muffin or a donut.
Hey, side note, if
Yeah.
it's like Costco sized muffin, then
I still
I
don't feel like that's worth it. I'm not gonna lie.
have you had a
I,
Costco muffin before?
yeah,
They're huge.
I know. But like, I feel like muffins, if they're anything over $3, like I can make it myself. Yeah. Let's read some more.
Let's-
All right.
I
From
like the
accomplished ass.
accomplished ass 1039. Yeah.
When I worked at the credit union as a teller, I was always asked by people in relationships if they should keep their individual accounts in addition to their new joint accounts with their partners. I said yes every single time. You have
Mm.
no idea what will happen down the road. It's always good to still have funds just in your name just in case and for any reason doesn't cost. Yo, I'm not a cuss, no, nah. Doesn't cost a damn thing. And only you still have complete control. Honestly, yeah. I I I think that's the healthiest way to do it, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. In my opinion, I feel like you do have to have separate money and maybe do it similar to an allowance. Like you take your
Right.
money, they take their money, and that's what you have to just spend on you, you know?
Right.
And I'm hoping that's what she's doing. But at the same time, $33.
Averaging.
That's 30 Yeah, like that's $33. You could go out to like an Applebee's and get a full meal there, you know,
And we're talking
and
like
get
we're
more.
talking appetizer, main course, and possibly a dessert with that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I don't
Like,
know. I haven't been in Applebee's in years.
yeah. I think it'll probably get you at least a main course and dessert, you know.
I know most places for with $33 you could feed 2 people.
Yeah. Hey, as a regular at Applebee's, I know these things, you know.
Yeah, you do. Um,
Yeah,
I'll
but
read one more.
one more? All
Probable
right.
lost cause from 12 days
Oh,
ago.
yeah.
Actually, Wandering Mind 47. I want to read that one.
No, let's read both. Let's
Read
read
both?
both.
Okay. I'll read this one, you can
Yeah.
read that one. So
Yeah, yeah.
okay, so this person says, and who gets to decide what's necessary? Do you think if she thinks that the generic is just as good as his name brand grocery purchase, would she get to stop him from buying the one thing he wants or from buying it at all? This kind of puts into the idea that imagine if it was the other way around. He would buy what he thinks he needs and it would be rather pricey. And the wife would think the same thing. Oh, you're spending too much on that kind of stuff. So I think it's of a
Yeah.
subjective opinion of if you think you're spending too much. And again,
Yeah,
it also comes down to how much you're making as an individual when you're working.
yeah, I think that with things like money, that's where it always gets kind of complicated
Right.
because, everyone deals with money differently,
And I know that,
you know?
especially based on how much you make, like my first job was at Sky Zone, and I was making like $11 an hour. And with how much I was making, with how much I was allowed to work, buying, like, let's say I take you out and some other friends to a restaurant and I buy you all dinner. That would be like
Yeah.
that would be like a huge spend. So I think it's relative to how much you're also making, or at least the mindset that
Yeah.
you're in as well. I don't want to get
Yeah.
philosophical or like I'm no psychologist, but I feel like this is subjective to how much you make and your mindset with your spending.
Yeah, like I've seen some people who built up a lot of wealth and that's why like they were broke at one point and that's why they are more
Yeah.
strict with their money.
Yeah.
But like even then a lot of people are like, "You know what? I'll go out get a coffee, get whatever, you know." Yeah.
All right.
All right.
Let's see this one
Let's
more
read this
comment. Let's see
last.
one more comment
Yeah.
before we get to the verdict.
YTA, micromanaging your partner's discretionary spending on 2 to 3 coffee shop outings per week is controlling and inappropriate. Insulting her intelligence because she called you out for it while reluctantly agreeing to your request is immature and vindictive. It's time to separate your accounts and learn better communication skills. Hold up. Is it 2 to 3 per week? Oh
Two,
yeah, it
yeah,
is
two
two
to
to three per
three.
week. Hold up. Hold
Two.
up.
She is.
Wait, hold up. I thought he meant per day. Hold up.
No, 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 no,
Yeah, yeah,
no.
yeah. Hold on. Yeah, yeah,
If it was per
yeah.
day,
Yeah.
she'd probably be in a rough position with her finances.
Oh
She
yeah.
probably would. They probably would have had this
Yeah.
conversation anyways if it was 2, 3 times a day. Either would have happened sooner, or she would have stopped. But no.
Yeah. Okay, hold up. So
per week.
2 to 3 times per week, and she's spending like $33.
We'll go down
So
this
let's
person.
see.
There's another. There, I think
That
there's a reply to that one that kind of also mentioned a rough estimate as well. Yeah, like
yeah,
$50 a week. 200 on coffee.
yeah, yeah. You know that
Yeah, you know what? I think it's time we hit the verdict because we're seeing the same
honestly,
stuff.
the more I've seen about it, I kind of feel like he's the a-hole for it. I'm not gonna lie.
I think I know I've reached my verdict. This guy is the
Yeah,
a-hole.
yeah,
He wouldn't be the
yeah,
a-hole if he didn't double down on the disrespect.
yeah. If he had just talked to her and been like, "Hey, I feel like you're spending a lot on
If the
coffee."
guy had some self-control, then
Yeah,
he wouldn't be in the position he is in today because simply put, having just simple self-control could be the difference between you being in A or B. Like, let's fantasize, if you will. If he had self-control, he probably wouldn't have this rough situation he is with his wife, right? He,
yeah,
if he took it slow, if he took it respectfully and kindly, I think this issue would have been addressed a lot better and a lot quicker. But since this guy chose to not have self control over his words, this relationship started getting a little messy. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But
And that
I'm no Dr. Phil. This is
that
just some random guy on the internet sharing his opinion.
Yo, bro, Dr. Phil's not a doctor either, bro. Don't worry. You
It's-
got the same credentials.
I feel like this would be something you'd find on a Dr. Phil episode, honestly.
Yeah,
Taking it to the extreme.
probably.
Right.
Man, honestly, I feel like a lot of these stories, especially with partners, there's really never a good time, you know? Like there's never really a good story where people are micromanaging money and things like that because it's always that either they get into some crazy heated argument
Right.
or some like insulting their intelligence happens, And
Seriously.
I'm like, dog, why? Yeah. All right. Well, that was reading Reddit stories.
I think we've reached the end of this episode.
We have. It's time.
We did it. We actually made another podcast. We waited too long for this.
Yeah. Yeah, we'll make more.
We'll make more. We'll make more.
I think we'll have a lot more fun.
I think we should stay tuned for the next episode. I think our next episode might include another guest. Who knows? We might bring on someone else.
Of course. We don't know who that is yet.
We don't
but
know.
We have an idea.
I mean, we might know who it is, but we.
Yeah.
All right.
All
Well,
right.
we could close this out. I'd like to say thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys enjoyed this podcast, hit the like and subscribe for more podcast episodes on the Trench. If you guys want to engage with us, you can comment down below and let us know what kind of topic you would like us to talk about on an episode. We'll look through the comment section. If you want us to talk about your topic, we'll let you know if your topic is being talked about. And you have anything else to say, Kody? I just ran out of things to say.
Not really. I think you hit all the points.
Hey, let's go.
Well, I hope you enjoyed the video.
Hope you guys enjoyed.
Like, subscribe, and I think that's it. Peace.
Thank you guys so much for watching this episode of The Abyss. We'll see you next time.